One of the really important things about breast cancer is it often affects women aged between, say, 40 and 60, and those women are almost always someone's wife, someone's mother, someone's daughter.
You know, mammography is a very complicated subject and it's created great controversy. But I think what's important for us to do is to think about mammography not as whether it's good or bad, but to really say, what are the contributions mammography can make? But what are the limitations? What can it not do? We can't expect it to do things that it cannot do. It is not going to cure breast cancer.
We are trying to analyze what's the prognostic impact of finding CTCs on the liquid biopsies and the free DNA. Those are some investigational type of biopsies that we are doing, and we don't have ready the clinical applicability of all this, but I think we are on the way of finding another ways of having more accurately what's the prognosis of our patients.
We need to acknowledge that whatever tumour type you're dealing with, surgery is absolutely critical, and getting the right operation on the right patient by a surgeon who's got the technical and the management, patient management ability is crucial to everything else we do.
You are not always only interested in preserving quantity of life. You want to do that without impairing the quality of life as well.
You know, I asked several people to come in and talk to us about matters, about the things that really matter to patients. And I think it's so important for clinicians to understand that there's a consequence to everything we do. And at the time you're making a decision about treatment, people are usually frightened. And the only thing they can think about is, I want to survive. And fear drives a lot of treatment decisions that may not be appropriate for their situation.
We had also the Ribbon 2 demonstrated that in second line, bevacizumab improves outcomes. So today we know that in patients who receive bevacizumab in first line, continuing bevacizumab in second line could be a good strategy for a subgroup of patients.
We have a specific driver mutation that can drive progression of disease, progression also to specific cancer treatment.
We've seen some amazing advances in the treatment of cancer over the last decade, but nothing comes without cost. And I think as we see more patients surviving with their cancer, either cured of the disease or living fairly well for a longer period of time, it's very important to be clear about the iatrogenic harms that some of our treatments might be actually having on patients.
Individuals who carry a mutation in the BRCA gene, they're deficient or in a particular DNA repair mechanism, and this is called homologous recombination. So homologous recombination just doesn't work.
Are there other things we can do? Absolutely. What about routine risk assessment? There's level 1 evidence that you can prevent breast cancer with tamoxifen, raloxifene. Where is our effort to systematically do risk cancer assessment like we do for cardiac risk assessment? Find the people with the highest risk and counsel them about prevention. Why aren't we doing that?
But I think it's important that we do follow patients in the longer term and look for the long-term consequences of treatment. And that changes with time.
So mutations that you find in the primary tumor are not found in the metastatic site of disease. Why this? Because there is a Darwinian evolution or because there is an interaction with the stroma?
I've been working in quality of life for well over a quarter of a century. What we've seen over the last few years is people paying more than lip service to quality of life issues. Patients demand that people do take account of the impact that disease and treatment is having on their lives.
I think there are still some challenges around the development of biosimilars. It's the current clinical development plan and the approval process has some challenges. And as I said earlier, it's just comparing safety and efficacy to the reference product. But there are obviously some concerns around how relevant those results are for all indications.
We know many examples where a truly multidisciplinary approach can lead to the same results, but a different outcome in terms of quality of life.
I think some people have a fear or a misperception about the risk of recurrence, and they feel like, oh, if I just get them off, then I'll be fine. But if I leave my breast on, I'm going to have a much higher risk of recurrence. And the evidence doesn't suggest that to be true, but some people feel that strongly, sort of on an emotional or visceral level.
So personally, apart from my day job as operating on those patients with breast cancer that come under my management, I guess, we do a lot of laboratory-based research. We've this year been able to demonstrate that if you have disease recurrence, it's really important to take a sample from that breast cancer and look at it for estrogen receptor, progesterone receptor, HER2 receptor, because about 1 in 6 patients, the changes in those receptors in the metastatic or recurrent disease will change your subsequent therapy.
However, if we can show that the treatment's not needed, then it would be very good to be able to spare a number of patients the need to go through it.